Have you ever, like, been in a conversation where you just suddenly freeze up?
Oh, yeah. Like
What?
total panic.
Right. Your brain just frantically starts translating your native language into English, word by excruciating word,
Yeah.
and you end up sounding like a robot stuck in a buffering loop.
And I mean, the harder you try to fix it, the worse the anxiety gets.
Exactly. So, welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is unpacking the linguistic architecture of English-speaking confidence.
Yeah, we've synthesized a stack of sources for you. Linguistic studies, psychology articles, and, clinical notes.
All to really flip the script on what it means to be a confident speaker. The overarching theme across all this material is that confidence isn't some inherent personality trait you're born with.
Right, it's a technical proficiency that you can systematically build.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
So the reason we get stuck in that robotic buffering loop in the first place comes down to a concept linguists call the affective filter.
The affective filter. Yeah, it's a literal psychological barrier.
Yeah.
When you're terrified of looking foolish, your brain is just so flooded with stress hormones.
Wow, so it physically blocks you.
Exactly. It physically cannot access the vocabulary you've learned. The anxiety just completely consumes your working memory.
So it's literally blocking language acquisition.
It is. To beat this, the research insists we have to, stop obsessing over grammatical perfection. We need to prioritize communicative flow instead.
Well, prioritizing flow sounds great in theory, but when your brain is still stuck at that translation hurdle, you can't just magically speak faster.
No, you definitely can't.
So how do you keep things moving when you're, momentarily blanking?
Well, you need specific tools to buy time. Enter discourse markers.
Like what?
Words and phrases like actually or, to tell you the truth, they act as conversational lubricants.
Okay, preventing those agonizing silences while your brain is still catching up.
Right, and you pair those markers with idioms to build what researchers call linguistic armor.
Linguistic armor, I like that.
Yeah, the idea is that by casually dropping phrases about being a tough cookie or having nerves of steel, you project a persona of competence.
Wait, if I just start dropping idioms like tough cookie when I'm clearly struggling to string a basic sentence together, won't I just sound completely inauthentic, like a walking cliche?
It might feel that way initially, but it serves a vital purpose. It's a recognized psychological strategy for building genuine self-assurance.
Really? How so?
Well, using a phrase like, in other words, gives you an anchor. It buys you 2 seconds of breathing room.
Oh, so it isn't a hesitation mistake. It's essentially a strategic conversational smoke bomb.
A smoke bomb, yes.
You toss it out there to hide the fact that you're still formulating your next thought, all while looking completely in control.
Precisely. You're basically faking it till you make it, but with actual linguistic tools.
But building that linguistic armor with idioms is useless if you sound terrified while saying them.
Right. The words matter, but the music of the language is what actually projects confidence.
The research gets heavily into prosody here, noting that English is a stress-timed language.
Yes. So unlike a language like Spanish, which fires a bit like a machine gun where every syllable gets equal time,
English is more like jazz, like it stretches the important words and compresses the rest.
that's a perfect way to look at it. If you shift that jazz-like stress, you can change a word entirely.
Right, think of the adjective per effect versus the verb perfect.
Exactly. And to do that compressing you mentioned, confident speakers naturally reduce unstressed vowels to a schwa.
A schwa, that's that lazy sound, right? Like the A in the word about.
You got it. If you give every single vowel its full dictionary weight, you go right back to sounding like that buffering robot.
Reading a textbook out loud isn't going to teach you that rhythm, though. You need to replicate the messiness of real-world English.
Oh, totally.
And the clinical notes we reviewed suggest using something called complication-based scripts.
Right. So instead of a basic ordering a coffee role play, you try to negotiate a taxi ride while the driver insists that Batman lives in Milwaukee.
That is so random.
It is, but it forces you to handle absurdity and maintain your flow despite distractions.
And to really lock it in, learners use the 4-3-2 technique.
Right, where you tell the same story in 4 minutes, then 3, then 2.
Because when you only have 2 minutes to tell a 4-minute story, your brain is forced to abandon the slow process of translating from your native tongue.
Exactly. It forces you to rely entirely on muscle memory and direct English retrieval.
Which permanently breaks the hesitation habit. By treating these scripts almost like a musical score, complete with literal stress marks for your pitch, your mouth learns the physical rhythm of the language.
So your brain doesn't have to work as hard, and the panic factor drops.
You start moving from just learning English to actually living in English. And in that living, mistakes aren't failures anymore. They're just data points.
Yes, you don't need perfect grammar to own the room. It's always about communicative intent over precision.
Absolutely. So we want to leave you with this final thought to ponder today. We talked about overcoming that robotic translation loop by putting on linguistic armor.
Right, using discourse markers and bold idioms to rehearse a fake it till you make it persona.
Exactly. But at what point does that scripted